James, last time I spoke to you was at the Dublin Web Summit, and at the time I was learning all about your exploits in terms of hacking the iPod Nano, and we talked a bit about the need to get more kids coding and doing things. You've actually just done your Leaving Cert, and you've just kicked into it now with a new project that you and Bill Liao from Zing.com are working on together. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, me and Bill Liao started CoderDojo. So it's basically filling the void in schools where there's no computer club or there's no resources for kids. So we've been setting up these dojos throughout Ireland. We've got one in Cork in the National Software Centre. We're getting one in the Guinness Enterprise Centre in Dublin. And the idea is basically it's a place where kids can come in their free time. They can come for a few hours, they can code. There'll be a session orientated on maybe HTML5 or Objective-C, and kind of give the foundations and give a taste to kids of all different areas of IT, so that they can find out what they like.
What would a typical CoderDojo look like? How would it function? What would a typical day look like?
So for example, on the 23rd we start in the National Software Centre in Cork, and from 11 to 12 there's registration, and from 1 to 5 the CoderDojo session runs. So in this time we'll spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours working on an area we're picking web design first day. So we're going to give an introduction to HTML and the basics of it. And the idea is that it gives the foundations to kids so that they can afterwards they can go onto our site, they can see all the resources and get the slides, and they can from there go on and learn more about that subject. And the idea is that we'll do kind of in these sessions, we'll each Saturday that we run, or whatever day we'll run, we'll do a session on maybe Objective-C or on movie making or something, and you kind of give a taste to kids and expose them to all areas of IT.
Now, one of the things that comes up a lot is the technology sector in Ireland. We have a lot of vacancies in the sector, and if you read what I write sometimes, you might be led to believe that there isn't enough developer talent in Ireland, but from talking to you, there are a lot of kids actually in schools today who are just looking for that outlet, and actually who are already talented. Can you tell me a bit about the kind of people that you know and want to do this kind of thing?
Well, it's absolutely incredible. I got an email from a kid who told me that he had been in love with computers since he was 6, and he did his first Linux install. He was in Dublin, he heard about this, and he is now writing on a technology blog with a few 20-year-olds and a 19-year-old, and he was saying that he's only 11 years old, so he's incredibly interested. I've come across guys who there's incredible hackers who just finished the Leaving Cert who would make the government sweat. There's developers who've been developing since they've been 13 years old, so they're definitely out there, but there's nothing to there's nothing for them, there's no place for them to go, or there's no exposure of them.
Now, all the big companies that we know of, some of the famous ones, the Apples and the Facebooks, all were started by people who were kids who could code and just went and did it. We as a country need more people like that, and I would consider you among that generation that's going to show us really what's possible if we give kids enough belief and let them do what they need to do. Now, you just done your Leaving Cert. What have you been doing since you just finished your Leaving Cert? So
I finished my Leaving Cert with agricultural science on a Friday, and on Monday I took up position of CEO in my startup Disruptive Developments. So in Disruptive Developments I'm in there with 3 other people, 2 incredibly talented young developers, Shane Doyle and Sean Phillips, and Hilary Quinn, an unbelievable designer. And we're developing a product that helps SMEs understand their impact across social media via marketing and analytics. So we've been incredibly lucky as well. We've been given private investment in addition to EI funding, and everything's going fantastic.
And I know in the very competitive world that is technology, you don't want to give too much away of what you're working on, but what I understand, it is focused on the social world.
Yes, it is very much so, and we've got a few USPs out there and a few tricks up our sleeves, but we're aiming to launch in beta late August.